Hi, this is Goose, the producer of the RV Show USA, and you are in store for some great recorded content from the RV Show USA with your RVing wingman, Alan Warren.
All right, Alan Warren, your RV wingman here with our, as I say, our badass RV lemon lawyer, Ron Burge, and still to come, the 9 words that buyers of new RVs need to know that could save them thousands. So, Ron, talk with me about expectations from consumers, from RV buyers. Do you think that many consumers have unrealistic expectations when they're buying like essentially a home on wheels and, that's bumping down the road? Talk to me about that, because, I hear that from dealers saying that people...
I don't think their expectations as a consumer are wrong, but I think their expectations, the expectations of the industry as to what the consumer's expectations ought to be, those are wrong. The consumer looks at that nice big shiny RV and they figure that everything's been built right because their car was built right. And so they figure the odds are they're not going to have much of a problem. And that's just not the way that RVs turn out to be in real life in many, many cases. Manufacturers, they always fall back on the idea that, well, it's like a house built on wheels, and when it goes down the road, things are going to happen. And I always, whenever I hear that argument, I just continually feel like slapping my forehead and thinking, well, you people built it. You knew it was going to go down the road. But they do, in fact, blame it on the road, so to speak, when the reality is they know where it's going in the get-go. I don't think the consumer's unreasonable in that regard. But when it comes to the reality of getting repairs done and everything, that's a different ballgame. That one's purely on the factory and on the dealer and on the industry.
It just seems like there's a lot of gray area here. I hear people all the time that buy a new RV and they do the PDI, the pre-delivery inspection, they walk through, and there's some things that aren't fixed quite right, and the dealer's trying to get that trailer off the lot, get that RV, bring it back in 60 days, and we'll fix it. We'll fix everything up, add it to your list, and that's not a good idea, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. A dealer will do almost anything to get you to go over the curb and sign the paperwork and buy the RV and take off on a trip. But the reality is, once you got it, you're just somebody else standing back there in the service department. So if you find anything at all wrong with an RV, I always tell every client, for goodness sakes, do not sign anything to buy it and do not drive it off the lot until they have, in fact, fixed what you're complaining about, because that is when you're going to get their attention. Later on, you're just somebody else standing back there in the service department.
Amen. In fact, my monologue at the close of this hour is about that. But talk to me about it's not all on the dealer and manufacturer. There's a responsibility that lies with the buyer. Like you said, make sure that everything's working properly. Talk to me about how important that is if somebody does end up getting a lemon RV and they weren't responsible in the way they bought it. It's their responsibility to do their end of the bargain, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. They have a responsibility to operate it properly, to take care of it, to do maintenance and all the normal things one would expect as somebody who owns a piece of property that you spend a lot of money on and you intend to keep for a very long time. As long as it's been built right, if you do your job as a buyer and as an owner, then it ought to last for a right time, too.
Okay, gotcha. What are
so there are responsibilities all the way around. That's true. But it's a matter of where does the problems that you have, where did that problem start? If it started with you as the owner, well, it's your problem then.
We have another question submitted on our live stream. One of our viewers is asking, is it legal to video or audio record the dealings with your dealer? That's a great question, I think.
Yeah, that is, and the law is actually different from state to state, and the laws all pretty much boil down to a couple of fundamental rules. But the way to find out what the law is in your particular state, there was a website I came across years ago that is still up there, and all you have to do is do a search for it called Can We Tape? And it's actually intended to tell reporters for newspapers when they can record it when they're interviewing somebody and when they're not. But the rules apply across the board. And there's basically, it boils down to what's called two-party consent or one-party consent. When you got two people who are face-to-face or on a phone line, if the law says that you have to have two-party consent, then that means you cannot record unless both sides know what's happening and both sides are okay. Most states, however, have what's called one-party consent, which means that only one side needs to know it's happening and agree to have it happen, and then you can still use it in court. And I'll tell you, they'll say almost anything, but when you got a recording on what they said, that pretty well shuts up the argument.
Yeah, you probably won't get invited to very many Christmas parties next year when you pull out your camera, you start your iPhone, start recording the transaction, will you?
Well, I'll tell you, the best thing you can do is exactly that. You pull out the iPhone or your Samsung or whatever you got there, and you press the record button, and you just keep right on talking and make sure they see it. But be sure you check your state, because the mere fact that they see it happening is not necessarily consent.
Right,
so it depends on what your state law says.
All right, listen, hang on. Got to jump for a quick break. In our next segment, folks, Ron is going to tell you the 9 words that every buyer of a new RV needs to know. If you know anybody who plans on buying a new RV, they got to hear our next segment. We will be right back. You know, in our efforts to help RV buyers and RV owners make the best decisions possible, we are very proud to be able to visit with one of the nation's top RV lawyers that represents the consumer. I don't know of anybody with any more experience representing the RVer against bad RV dealers and manufacturers than you have, Ron Burge. Really, I guess you've been doing this an awful long time, haven't you?
I sure have.
Before we get to the 9 words that every buyer of a new RV needs to know, give us some of the basics on what we need to do if I'm an upset RV buyer, RV owner. I'm not getting satisfaction from my dealer or manufacturer. Walk me through what I got to do.
Okay, how to complain is really, I think, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
How to complain effectively. And I think what you got to remember is the 4 ways you got to do it, and then what you got to do, and how often you got to do it. And the 4 ways: phone, fax, FedEx, and email. Not just phone, not just fax. Don't just send a letter by ordinary mail or by email or certified mail or just by whatever. You got to do it all, and you got to keep a diary of what's going on, so that when you talk to somebody on the phone from the factory or from the dealer, you make a note of what they're saying and what you are saying, each of you. So you got a record of what really was happening. Now, the other thing to do is, how often do you do it? Do it daily. Now, don't do all 4 of them daily. On one day, make a phone call. On another day, send a fax. And believe it or not, they still have fax numbers, and the fax actually does go through and get priority still. Also, send a certified mail the next day, or else send it by FedEx or UPS or whatever you like. And then the next day, send it by email. And each time, say, you didn't answer me before, I'm still waiting to hear from you. In other words, be the squeaky wheel.
But be nice about it. Be nice about all your correspondence. Don't come across as a jerk, right?
Absolutely. What you want to do is come across as somebody who's just trying to get the value of what they paid for somebody who has a problem, and you just want to have the factory help you out. You don't want to be a jerk. You don't want to be obnoxious. And the main reason for that is because the more reasonable you are and the more reasonable you sound, the less they're going to want to see you in a courtroom.
What about filing at the Attorney General's office for your state, filing a complaint? How important is that once you've got your diary and all your documentation?
The Attorney General's offices in most states don't have the funding or the manpower to enforce these consumer or warranty laws that exist, but they are a place where you can stop on your path. They're a place where they can actually help you if they want to help you. And unfortunately, they don't have a whole lot of incentive to do that anymore. But you still need to make that complaint. And part of the reason is because they'll send a letter out to the dealer or the factory, and they'll explain it, and they'll ask them for their 2 cents worth, what they say in response. That's good because you'll get a copy of it, and now you'll have something in writing where they explain why they think they don't owe you anything. And that way you can understand how to argue that they do.
Okay. I've got to, in the essence of time, I've got to jump in here. How do I hire an RV lawyer, and when do I hire one? After I've done everything you've done, got the diary, done all the correspondence, I've got everything documented, written the Attorney General's office, is that the time, if it's not resolved, that's when to come and find a Ron Burge and hire a lawyer?
That's the latest time. The earliest time would be somewhere around 6 months after you bought it if you're still having problems. And the reason is because there's a lot of warranties that say that you only have a limited amount of time after the warranty expires to file a claim or you are stuck. So you got to get to one in time to begin planning and make sure you've crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's so that your legal rights are preserved, so that if you do have to file a claim, you've got time to do it.
And in areas, parts of the country where you can't RV all year long, 6 months can go by pretty fast, and you don't even know maybe some of the issues that you're about ready to have.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Yep.
In fact, it could be in the shop for 6 months out of 8 months or out of 12 months, and then your time's gone up. And they do not extend the warranty purely because it's sitting in the shop being worked on or sitting there waiting for parts.
All right, so in the last couple of minutes, tell us the 9 magic simple words that every new RV buyer needs to know before they sign the papers.
Okay, folks, get ready to write this down, because this can save you money and give you lots of legal rights that you won't get otherwise. You just simply want the dealer, not you, but the dealer, to write on your sales contract before you sign it these words: we give buyer a 24-hour warranty against defects. It's as simple as that.
Why? What? Explain to me. You told me this before, but they have to write it, I guess, in the finance department or whatever when you're closing the deal. We give buyer a 24-hour warranty against defects. What does that do?
Well, what it does is it gives you that 24-hour warranty, sure, but the law, the federal law, is that if you get a warranty, then you automatically get an implied warranty of merchantability, and that one can last for 4 years in most states. The reason you want it handwritten is because the law also is that a handwritten term on a sales contract overrides any pre-printed words on the contract. And you're going to see in the various places on all these pre-printed words contracts that they're saying that the dealer doesn't give you any warranty. So you want the dealer to handwrite that they are giving you one. Then that way you will get that. And on top of that, what the dealer doesn't realize almost never is that by operation of law, you also get this 4-year warranty of merchantability.
That is brilliant, Ron Burge. I mean, brilliant. We give buyer a 24-hour warranty against defects. What if the dealer goes, you know what, I'm not doing that. We're not doing that. Walk?
Then fine, go someplace else. Everybody else has got that RV too.
Just remember, what I'm hearing is what I say all the time, is you have the power. We, the consumer, have all the power until we sign on the dotted line and get off the curb with that RV, don't we?
Absolutely. You know, at the end of the day, it's your life and it's your money. And if you want to give away your money, well, then fine, sign whatever you like and take your licks the way they come. But if you want to take care of yourself and your family and you want to get a quality RV that somebody's going to stand behind, then you need to make sure that your legal rights are set up so that they have to.
This is awesome.
That's what they'll do.
What is your website? We got to jump, Ron Burge. What's your website where people can get a hold of you?
RVLemonLaw.com.
Real simple. We got it up here on the live stream. RVLemonLaw.com. Thank you for all your help, for everything you do for RV owners. We'll get you again real soon, okay?
I had a great time, Alan. Thank you, and I hope it helped.
You betcha. Thank you much. Ron Burge, RV Lemon Lawyer Extraordinaire. I'm telling you, he's an amazing guy. You can get to him at RVLemonLaw.com or connect through our website, The RV Show USA. Be right back.